Hey, welcome to another unscripted rant. This one's gonna probably not go over so well. I don't know. I feel like the topic is controversial. Not like controversial like saying Hitler was right. He wasn't. But still controversial in our society. Um, and real quick, I wanted to just say one thing. This lighting is still not permanent, because remember in my pickups number 4 video where I said, hey, next time I do a video, I'm gonna make sure that I have a permanent decision, for the lighting. I lied. I guess, yeah. I have one right here on my shelf, like against my PlayStation 3 games, and then one against a Stephen King book. One of the many Stephen King books that I have. Um, So yeah, one's like pointing this way at me, and one's pointed just directly like at my face. But anyway, let's talk about the MCU Spider-Man, Tom Holland. And before I get into this, I already said, this is going to be kind of controversial. I just want to say a warning that I most definitely have a bias. I'm sure everybody does have a bias with opinion-based matters, but I have a bias with this. I love Tobey Maguire. I like him way more, his Spider-Man, that is, way more than Tom Holland. Sam Raimi Spider-Man films were masterpieces. Three was very good. I know a lot of people say it's bad, and I will make a video, probably like a separate video outside of my review for the film whenever I do a review, that talks about like why it actually is a pretty good movie. Um, uh, so I just want to tell you guys that like I'm not going in here as like this huge scholar. I'm like, well, technically, I'm saying this probably because I like Tom Maguire more, but honestly, this isn't gonna. I'm sure I'm going to insult Tom Holland. Another warning: I'm probably going to end up insulting Tom Holland during this video. I made a whole my I was in radio class, because I took radio first semester of 10th grade, and for my final that I did 2 weeks ago or so, I talked for 40 minutes about how Tom Holland is not a good Spider-Man. So, yeah, I definitely do not really like him as a Spider-Man. Some parts of his movies are okay. Homecoming was entertaining, and there were some good parts of it. But anyway, let's not talk about the MCU films any more than we need to, because I'm gonna just get insulted. I mean, they're all good MCU movies. There are some really good ones: Black Panther, Guardians of the Galaxy, Endgame, Iron Man 3. That's where the list stops pretty much. Avengers is good. The first one, second one sucks. So yeah. But anyway, um, let's just. This video is discussing how to fix the MCU Spider-Man. And how do you do that? I'm just gonna say it, and then the rest of this video is just gonna be me explaining why I said it. They should kill off Ant-Man. And hold up. I don't want anybody fucking getting mad, coming in here to stab me in the dick or something. Let me tell you why, okay? And here's fucking why. Because fuck them. No, I'm kidding. Because Tony Stark is the closest we have right now to an Uncle Ben figure, and by an Uncle Ben figure, I mean somebody who motivates Spider-Man to is his influence and whatever. And uh, Tony died, in Endgame, so we have that kind of fact. He helped him while he was alive with, you know, while he was Spider-Man. And Uncle Ben never helped Peter when he was Spider-Man. At least in the main storylines. I'm sure there's some comics where he was alive. But uh, so there's definitely some differences, but if you had to find like choose a character that was most like Uncle Ben in the MCU Spider-Man films, you would go right to Tony Stark. But why is that a bad thing? Why not? Is it? It's not bad for him to look up to Tony. I mean, it has created some really good dynamics and scenes throughout the films. But it's bad because he doesn't represent the same thing as Uncle Ben. And Uncle Ben motivated him to become a better person. Tony Stark motivated Peter to become a better hero. And to become a hero at all. I mean, to become a superhero. Uncle Ben just motivated him to become a good person, which then influenced his heroing, as you might say, career, and then motivated him to become a fucking amazing, spectacular Spider-Man. And we can't have that. They threw that away with Far From Home because once Uncle Ben's suitcase got destroyed and Peter didn't give a shit, then we knew that there's never going to be that. And even if they did make that type of relationship, they're like, wait, hold up, in like the third movie, or if they make a fourth or whatever, they're like, hold up, he actually does care about Uncle Ben. Let's just, if they did decide to do that, it would fall flat because of what happened in Far From Home. So, so we can't have that with Uncle Ben anymore. I'm sorry, I loved Uncle Ben in the Raimi trilogy. He was done so cleverly and so perfectly. That was a pure Uncle Ben portrayal adaptation. But we can get close, I think, with killing off Aunt May instead. And this is what would benefit from it. I'm not gonna really talk about what would not. I mean, obviously, Aunt May would fucking die. No more Marissa Tomei. No more fucking. I mean, but why the fuck was she there? To tell Peter to actually fucking go risk his life so Tony could fucking flirt with her when he was fucking dating Pepper fucking Potts? Exactly. Why the fuck is she there? Anyway, she doesn't even give any good fucking advice. I mean, Happy's there to give good advice. I mean, why don't they were like, let's just, like, why isn't Happy motivating him to become a hero, and then Marissa Tomei's Aunt May gets Happy's personality, so to speak, or at least his opinions with Spider-Man? Why doesn't she do that? Why couldn't they switch that? Really, they wanted to make it so different that it was terrible? Anyway, this is what would benefit, let's just say in the third movie, or the fourth, or whatever, they decide to kill her. How would they do it? Well, they could make Peter make a mistake. And, he makes a mistake, and the bad guy knows who he is, and they kill M.A. And this happens in the first act. Not that second act, third act bullshit like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he had, 5 minutes of grievance? No. We're gonna give him some time to fucking grieve like in Spider-Man 2. When he was like, I'm done being Spider-Man. We're gonna do that. Okay? Or they're gonna do that. Whatever. Whoever's gonna fucking make this movie that I'm talking about that no one's gonna listen to, or care about. So let's just say they kill her. The guy finds her, he kills her, and Peter knows this. Peter knows what he did. Peter knows that he fucked up. Whatever. So, and so he's not motivated to become Spider-Man because Marissa Tomei motivated, her Aunt May motivated him to become Spider-Man a lot too much actually, because she was telling him to go risk his life, whatever. But still, she was the reason. She was one of the driving forces. What I'm saying is that he's just grieving. He's sad. MJ can't cheer him up. Ned can't cheer him up. Whatever. He's gone. He's just so sad. He's in depression. And then he realizes, who would he be to not avenge her or something like that, or something better, something that that's kind of like the shittier approach. I think a better approach would be killing her. How I've heard, they killed her in the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game. I don't have it. I've played it, but I haven't beaten it, and I don't have it, whatever. But I've heard that they killed her by having natural causes, kill her. And so why don't they just go down that type of rabbit hole for Peter? He learns that he can't save everybody. There's people that Spider-Man just can't save because there's forces in the world that prevent physical heroism. He can't save her. Even if he tried, as much as he did try, as much as he was there for her, because let's say she gets diagnosed in the first act, she dies in the beginning of the second act. Whole second act is pretty much him grieving. Third act is holy shit, he's got to, second act, the end of the second act is where he comes back. Then the third act is where, he actually is like punch to the bad guys. With her dead, he doesn't realize that there's some things that Spider-Man can't save yet. So he's unmotivated to become Spider-Man because Aunt May, the last motivator, Happy can't even help him. The last true motivator for him is dead. Uncle Ben died, and we'll get a small little, maybe couple minute scene of his real opinions about Uncle Ben, the opinions that the MCU decide upon, whatever. Um, and then we realize, as Peter realizes that there's no motivators for him anymore. But then maybe Happy, kind of like how he did in Far From Home, I guess, or tells him something that lets him, lead to the realization that he can't save everybody, because him just telling him flat out kind of fucked up Far From Home, I guess. But I mean, it gave some good lines of dialogue, but other than that, so yeah, so the first act, she gets diagnosed. The end of the first act, he does everything he can for her, but you can definitely see that his determination is based upon him being Spider-Man and him thinking that he can save everybody. So maybe he's not even worried about it as much as he should be, at least. The end of the first act, she dies. Or the beginning of the second act, or whatever I said earlier. Sorry, I can't remember. But and then he goes into a depression, a grievancing period. Where he's not determined to save the city anymore. It's pretty much like it's less of a montage of him kind of passing, like, and kind of in Spider-Man 2 when he saw there's that brilliant montage of him kind of just kind of ignoring the kid who's getting beat up in the alley and things like that. It's kind of be like that, but a little different, a little bit more kind of just him in his room depressed because it's a lot, it's much more of a different situation. So but then in the end of the second act, Happy and his friends and just himself, his brilliance helps him realize that people need Spider-Man. The people that need the type of heroism that he can provide need him. And that's what he's there for. He's not there to save everybody. No superhero or no hero, real or fictional, whatever, printed on paper or people that you can see, helping people from fires or taking down the bad guys, whatever, is there for everybody. There's not an everyman hero. There's heroes that can do this. There's heroes that can do this. And that's what he realizes. It's a very realistic and universal theme. Kind of like Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 had. They had themes that could be put to any type, to like any person in a certain type of way. It wasn't just a superhero theme. It's a very earthly and grounded theme. And then he realizes that, and then he's like, holy shit, I have to save them, and so instead of like what I think they kind of fucked up in Homecoming and Far From Home is making it so Avenger-like, making it so otherworldly. I mean, he wasn't even in New York in Far From Home. I mean, come on, at least save that for the third one, like in, it was just in Spider-Man 1, he was in an abandoned building. In Spider-Man 2, he was in a warehouse. And yes, it started to kind of affect the whole city, but still, the fight that he had was in a warehouse or in a train. Or, and then in the third one, they're like, okay, it's in a huge construction site where everybody's, kind of at. And things like that. The Amazing Spider-Man 1, the whole fucking city knew about it. I mean, come on. Save that for the later ones. Build the character as an isolated kind of person, and then and then kind of build up the storylines throughout the sequels or something. So yeah, but they can do that. They can kind of make it a little bit more isolated and kind of character wise with with this one. And he in the whole movie is really just him realizing something about himself and not something about the Avengers or something that's an Avengers level threat or something like that. It's small, so to speak. And I think if they did that, and then in the third act, he could just, they could have some awesome fucking action scenes or something. And maybe he does kind of blatantly say the theme, but instead of other people saying it, it's him saying it, so it's better. I feel like if they did that, I would actually be really happy. I wouldn't like it more than Spider-Man 1, 2, or 3, but I would be very happy. I would say this is a good Spider-Man movie. When people say, hey, what are some good examples of the Spider-Man character? I would say Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Into the Spider-Verse, not in that order, and definitely this fucking one. You know, the one where they killed Aunt May. They had the balls to set the record straight and kill her. That sounds really bad when I say it, and it might get me put on a couple of lists. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys, if you guys don't agree, I hope you guys at least disagree in a nice way. I hope you're not gonna come here and stab my dick and make me watch Far From Home or something. You know what? Since this is kind of a controversial topic, why not hear what my viewers have to say about my opinions on the MCU Spider-Man?
You're a fucking idiot!
Well, he has a point.